Hello, and welcome to Chaos in the Class. I am Brenda Fuller, Mrs. Fuller, and we are continuing our read aloud of The Illiad from Kingfisher Epic Books. And it's read aloud. It's retold by Nick McCarty, and the illustrations are by Victor Ambrus. So grab your books, and you need to turn in your book to page 119. So turn in your book to page 119, and this is Patroclus Goes to War. So we just finished with Hera lured Zeus into sleep. And remember, Zeus had warned the gods not to interfere. So now that Zeus is distracted, Hera has made way for the other gods to go interfere anyway. So it'll be interesting to find out what happens. Patroclus goes to war. Poseidon watched and took his chance. The Greeks, with his help and the mighty powers of Ajax and Idomeneus, forced the Trojans with their flaming torches away from their ships and back toward the ditch. Zeus awoke and was furious when he saw what had happened. He tipped the scales the other way, and now the Trojans were once again inching forward, their flaming torches held high up high, getting even closer to the ships. Hector fought with Ajax again. Achilles still sulked beside his high-prowed boats while his warriors grumbled. They lived to fight. So the warriors lived to fight. They were like, oh, let me in. That's my passion. That's what I want to do. And Achilles is still not in the fight. I kind of wonder, why is Achilles not getting in this? Patroclus came to him in tears. What's the matter with you, my boy? Achilles asked his favorite. Don't tell me you're weeping because the Trojans are winning. You know the wrong that Agamemnon did to me. I'm not weeping for them so much as for you, Lord Achilles. I weep because you are behaving like an evil man, abandoning all Greeks here to eternal darkness. At least let me go into battle with our men. Achilles shrugged indifferently. Patroclus went on. Let me wear your armor and take your horses, Xanthus and Balius, the wind runners. The Trojans will think it's you for a moment and give our allies a chance to recover. Achilles was moved by the young man's courage. You have my permission. Take my armor and prepare yourself. Patroclus smiled. Then he began strapping on the glittering bronze, silver-studded and decorated with inlaid gold. He began to look like Achilles, the destroyer of men. Achilles spoke to his warriors. My men, my wolf warriors, your time has come. I know you've been chafing at the bit. Look at the pictures of what's going on. So you see the Trojans are getting really close to the ships here. And they want to light them on fire. You've been angry with me. Now you have real work to do. If they set fire to our ships, we are all doomed to die on this beach, among the smoldering hulks. Go do the work you know so well. They lifted their shields in salute, and with Patroclus in their lead, they moved in close order. Like a woven carpet, they packed together and went into battle, man to man, shoulder to shoulder, helmet to helmet. They marched into the fight. Hector watched them coming. He thought he saw Achilles in their lead and didn't hesitate. He slashed with his sword at Ajax and cut the shaft of his spear. Ajax and his men backed away as the Trojans began throwing their flaming brands into the nearest open ships. In some tar and rigging quickly ignited, and the wood began to burn. Patroclus called Achilles, save the ships, and then drive their warriors to Troy. Come back safe. And so it began again. Zeus, looking down, answered part of Achilles' prayer. Oh, I wonder what Zeus did here. So if it's a god answering the prayer, I'm wondering if what would help put a ship flames out. Did you say rain? Let's see what happens. When the fresh warriors fell on them with the Trojans saw a big man in Achilles' armor, and just as Hector had they believed they saw Achilles himself, they broke ranks and ran. So the plan worked. They're running away, thinking, oh, Achilles is going to end my life, so I better run away. After them raced the baying hordes who'd come new to the hunt, harrying, cutting, slicing, charging down their enemies. The wolf wild men came on. Dust rose over them, and through it the glint and shimmer of bronze on bronze, the screams of dying men, and the unending roar of warriors, as if thunderous surf were roaring over the plain toward the walls of Troy. Patroclus cut the Trojans off from their city and slaughtered them at will as revenge for the Greeks already dead. He searched for Hector in the fury of the battle, but Hector had fast horses and kept far out of the way until the gods would give him a sign. Patroclus hurtled in his chariot behind the wind-flying horses to confront troops led by Sarpedon, a Trojan hero. The two men leaped from the chariots in full armor. They stalked around each other like fighting birds, heads high, spears like claws, screaming death in each other's faces. I want to show you something really quick in ELA. When you are writing, when you have to put a comma and put a little bit of an example or a description, that's called an appositive phrase. You're making an appositive there. So you see Patroclus hurtled in his chariot behind the wind-flying horses to confront troops led by Sarpedon. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, who's Sarpedon? A Trojan hero. Oh, that's who Sarpedon is. So whenever you have to give kind of a description of something, then you're going to put a comma and then put that description. Now, if our sentence didn't end, we would put a comma and continue our sentence. Okay? And a positive phrase is just a description of what you just kind of said, adding a little bit more detail. Zeus, sitting beside Hera, looked down and was distressed. What do you see, my lord? Ah, she's acting all kind of innocent, isn't she? What do you see, my lord? She asked. I see the fate is unkind. Sarpedon, whom I love, is about to be killed by Patroclus. I could snatch him away and transport him alive to Lycia, or do I let him suffer his fate? It is hard, Hera, to be all-powerful. Hera shrugged. You amaze me. You think of interfering with the fate of a mere mortal. Do it if you want, but be prepared for others to want the same from you. Let Sarpedon die, and then let death and sleep take him home to burial and honor. Zeus sighed and then sent bloody rain to fall around the battlefield as Sarpedon cast his spear. It hit the lead horse. Pegasus who fell and threw the other horses into confusion. Patroclus threw his spear and hit Sarpedon where the rib cage covers the heart. He fell like a giant oak. Okay, now, do you see the painting of the picture there? He fell like a giant oak. You can imagine a tree. Timber. Okay. Before he died, Sarpedon called to his men to protect his body from the shame of capture. Patroclus put a sandaled foot on Sarpedon's heaving chest and hauled the heavy war spear from the dying man's flesh. The Greeks fought to take Sarpedon's armor and to desecrate his body. Desecrate means it's yuck. It's like It's like maiming it and body parts everywhere. Ugh. This is kind of disgusting how they fought. Hector looked across the chaos as men tried to escape the terrible onslaught. Patroclus approached the walls of the city, and 3 times the god Apollo threw him back. Then he warned Patroclus, "Get back! Troy won't be captured by you, nor by Achilles, who is a far better man." Patroclus fell back a little. Then the god whispered to Hector, "The time is right. Attack Patroclus, kill him." So we see that rich picture there, the illustration. Victor Ambrus, our illustrator, is very talented. Hector, ignoring other skirmishes, charged through the battle after Patroclus, who was wearing Achilles' shining armor. The sun was past its height. The dark shadows of the Trojan walls loomed over the plain. Even as dusk came, great men died and were stripped of their armor and weapons by their enemies. Patroclus charged like a madman into the thickest fighting and killed again, covered in blood. He speared and gutted man after man, sending them all into an eternity of darkness. All this time, Hector was moving closer. Suddenly, Apollo ran past and hit the brave Patroclus between his shoulders. He fell to the ground, and his helmet rolled away, smeared with dust and blood. He lost his mighty war spear, and Apollo even undid his dented, shimmering breastplate. Patroclus struggled to his knees, and a Trojan warrior thrust a spear between his shoulder blades. Somehow his men held back the attacker, and Patroclus managed to creep away through the lines of his roaring warriors. Hector, seeing his chance, came screaming through the choking melee. He struck the wounded man in the stomach with appalling force. Patroclus fell with a thud back onto his knees. Oh, that does not look good for Patroclus. Look at him. He's lost his armor. He's got a spear in his back. He's lost his sword to fight. It's not looking good. Before he died, he did die. Before he died, he looked in Hector's thrusting face and said, "It was not you who killed me. Fate did that. Apollo, who took my breastplate, and hateful destiny did that. But hear me. You do not have long to live. You will die soon at the hands of Achilles of the wind. Achilles, son of Thetis." And he fell face to the sky, so Patroclus died. Oh, look at that. Big, huge speech at the end. Achilles' Grief. Deep, deep under the corals and beyond the white sand, the sea swirled. The light coruscated, refracted, and expanded as the waters broke overhead on the dark rocks. Beyond the land's edge, in translucent shafts of dark green and silver water, Thetis, mother of Achilles, sat surrounded by sea nymphs. Through the depths, she heard a cry of despairing grief echoing around the world. Achilles sat alone by his black-prowed ships as the son of Nestor ran to him across the hot sand, jumped over an anchor rope and then a pile of oars, and stopped before Achilles, gasping for breath. So he's about to tell Achilles what's happening. Achilles looked up and saw the news in the boy's eyes. Patroclus is dead. They are fighting around his naked body. Hector has your armor. They have sworn to take his head and leave the body at the foot of the Trojan walls for the dogs to dishonor. Achilles cried out then, and from deep beneath the swirling wine-dark waters, Thetis was already coming to comfort her son. She found Achilles kneeling, clawing the ground and the ashes from the fire and pouring them over his head in grief at his friend's death. Thetis tried to raise her son's head. My dear son, Zeus has given you some of what you prayed for. The Greeks are no longer pinned in close to their ships. I have lost my dear friend Patroclus, whom I loved as much as I love life. You have lost a son. No, she said gently, not yet, dear Achilles. I'll find Hector, who killed my friend, and kill him. It will be the price he pays. Thetis shuddered and wept. So look at them having this conversation going on. Then I shall lose you, for you are doomed to die after Hector has been killed. That is your fate. Achilles looked up then and confessed that he had not done his duty to his comrades. I am their best man, and I have sat by my boat like some crippled watchman. He admitted that it would be better if he stayed calm and the smoke of anger didn't surge through him. It's like blood pounding in my head, and as it did when Agamemnon took Briseis from me. He sat up and touched his mother's lovely hair. I will find Hector and make all of Troy weep. Do not try to stop me. Hector is wearing your armor, which was stolen from the body of your friend, said Thetis. Achilles waited. You shall have armor as no mortal has ever had. I will go to the poppy fields of Cyprus and find the crook-legged goddess Hephaestus. Not sure. We'll have to look that pronunciation up. And his forge. He will remember Thetis and will make that what you need. Meanwhile, show yourself to the Trojans. They will be terrified at the mere sight of you. But you must promise not to strike a blow until I come back with all that you need. Out in the stinking battlefield around the naked body of Patroclus, Menelaus, Meriones, and Ajax battled on. In a brief pause, Meriones and Menelaus leaned down to their dead comrade and lifted him shoulder high. So they're trying to honor their friend and get him out of there. They turned then and carried the naked and bloody body of their friend from the battlefield. Hector harried them like a vulture encircling a piece of meat as they took the body of Patroclus back to his friend Achilles. They strode through the roaring noise of battle, protected all the time by Ajax and their bleeding soldiers. Men stopped the bloody business of war as the body passed by them. A profound silence lay over the plain before the city. As they strode onto the beach, a huge bird passed overhead. For a moment, it seemed as if the sun had left the world. Oh, man. Wow. Okay, we're going to start up with Achilles' armor tomorrow. So we're going to be on page 134 when we start tomorrow, Achilles' armor. So evidently, Mom is going to get back with some heavy-duty stuff for him to go into war. Let's see if Achilles is going to get into the fight. Okay, y'all, this has been Mrs. Fuller with Chaos in the Class. Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll get more instant notifications of things that we are doing in class. And as soon as something gets uploaded, you'll get that notification. We will see you tomorrow as this continues. Dun, dun, dun.